Never part the bus. What we saying? Got Nate Dizzle in the house. Yes, bruv Diamond. Good to have you, bruv. Good to have you.
Yeah, what's happening, bro?
Yeah, man, chilling. You know how it goes. First things first, bro. Sum up the season for me. How do you think it went?
On a whole, it started off. Okay, you know what it was. We started with a lot of expectation. We had signings. We had Pepe. We had all of those things. We had spent 70 million, even if it was spent over 5 seasons. Like the expectation was big. Unai Emery the season before had got us to Europa final. I thought we were going to build.
I don't think the season went. It wasn't a good season. It finished on a positive with the FA Cup, but the season as a whole was a bit shambolic, to be honest. Started off okay, won our first 2 games, and then it just went really bad. Like say 3-4 games in, it just went really bad, and it was just bad for a long time.
And then Emery kind of went a little bit left. It was, we became a bit of a banter club, like more of a banter club. People were talking about good evening and all of this. Like it was just like we were a bit of a joke. And then obviously at that point it was like he's got to go. It got a bit toxic. The fans started getting a bit toxic. It was almost like Wenger out era again, but with my man. Then eventually he left. We had Freddie come in. We thought, okay, he might be able to paper over a few cracks for a little bit. Couldn't really win any games. And then we had Arteta come in. And then to be honest, I was Team Arteta from the beginning. Like even when Arteta and Emery first went for the job, I was Team Arteta. I said, like, I feel like he's got something about him. And I feel he didn't prove me wrong. And I feel slowly where we can go into next season with kind of like an expectation that, all right, you know what, we might do something.
The football was horrible. The atmosphere was nasty. It was just one thing after another. Emre going was the right decision because I felt that we just weren't going anywhere with him. There was a lot of problems with him. I know his English wasn't good. So he weren't getting his messages across properly. Some of his tactics were questionable. Some of his team selection was questionable as well. So yeah, it went really bad. So they had to. I'm glad that they acted and they got rid because we had Wenger for over 20 years. We're not a club that churns over managers. So we done something different for once in doing so because someone weren't performing. Brought in Freddie. Again, he was just caretaker. He was just there to steady the ship. And again, it was just still same old, really. He was just doing what he's been shown for the past year and a half, being the number 2 in that. Or, yeah, pretty much all working around Emery, should I say. Then Arteta came in. And, yeah, I think instantly you saw a difference straight away. There was a difference in our tactics, team selection. He had a bit of still about him, so he came there no nonsense. He had a plan, he's got a vision, and he's implementing it. And if you're not on board, see you later.
We started poorly. We had a bit of a mid-season, and I think we ended okay. The league was disappointing, though, to be honest, because I felt coming back from the break, from the whole Rona thing, I felt like we should have done a little bit better. We lost stupid games. Like City, fair enough, innit? But I don't think we should have lost. Was it Brighton or Bournemouth we lost to? Brighton. We shouldn't have lost that.
Villa.
Brighton, Villa, even Spurs. Like for me, those were games that we shouldn't have lost.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that was a lack of discipline or what it was, but it was a bit of a disappointing. And then we obviously ended up 8th. Out of possible Europe, some people thought, okay, that would be a good thing. Then, FA Cup final and that, like, yeah, so we ended on a good thing. Like, I was pleasantly pleased.
Arteta's coming in there. He knows his vision. He knows what he wants to do. He knows the players that he trusts to do it. The players that he don't trust to do it, they're not in the squad. Mm-hmm. And yeah, I think he's done a good job. I think he's been, I'll say this, we actually, in terms of how many games we lost this season, there's not many teams that have lost less games than us. I think it's only probably about less than a handful of teams that have actually lost less games than we had. Yep. We drew a lot of games. A lot of games that we should never drawn. But a point's better than no point. But I think at least that's something to, build upon and just turn them draws into wins. I think what's a bit of a poor stat as well is that we've gone ahead in games. I think it's 15 times this season, something like that.
15 games and didn't
15
win.
games and not come away with a win. So that's as much. It's something we need to improve on that. But again, we are getting ahead in games, but we're just not seeing it out. So I guess that's something to sort out defensively as a team, which I can see we are working on. I just think now the ball just needs to back. I genuinely believe we've got a good coach in Arteta, and he needs backing. We've got to back him.
That's right.
And just we've got to back him. If we don't back him, it's pointless. Yeah. He can't. We're clearly not good enough for Champions League top 4. We're not at the moment. We're not good enough.
If you had that magic wand and immediately wanted to just sort out something within the club, whether it be like from board level down to the pitch, anything, what would you actually fix first?
All right, you know what? I would love to say board level would have some new owner that comes in and does what he's supposed to do. But I feel that's very unrealistic. Like, Kroenke's here to stay. He's been there for years. He's got man out. Like, you get me? He's got people out. Like, he's taken over. Like, this is part of his portfolio. There's nothing we can do about that.
Yeah.
So for me, at the moment, what I'd really like is to potentially look at some of the personnel that we have on pitch. Yeah. I feel we still leak too many goals. I don't think necessarily we have the right personnel for the game that we want to play. This pressing game and also this playing out from the back, you don't necessarily have all of the defenders to do it. Yeah. So for me, I would decide whether we're playing, I think, well, it's not even whether we're playing a back 3 or a back 4. We've got to have the personnel that we can play a back 3 with and personnel we can play a back 4 with.
I believe top 4 is achievable in the next 2 years. I think it's important that we get this Aubameyang deal done, which is looking likely. It's just a matter of, when as opposed to if. I think we're making a couple of quick fix signings that will help us in the next couple of years. So, like, if the Willian deal comes off, which it should, again, that looks like it's definitely happening. There's murmurs about Coutinho. Those kind of signings, I know they're older players, but they're kind of players that can get us to where, short term, it makes sense and can get us to where we kind of want to be, and then we build up on that again. So I think it is achievable in the next 2 years, 100%, just to get back into top 4 or at least really pushing for top 4.
Yeah.
And then after that, I think we need to then expand upon that.
I'm more or less in agreement with you, bro, to be honest. I mean, would you agree that it is for me, that's probably one of the worst seasons, if not the worst season, as an Arsenal fan I've experienced? Like, do you know what I mean?
It was.
And then to top it off with the FA Cup, puts a little glint on it, like a little bit of shimmer, but obviously we know it don't paper over any cracks.
Yeah.
Like, it's about, where we go from here and what we can actually achieve realistically in the next, like.
Yeah, and I think what it is as well is, like, you can see, like, you look at the, to the latter part of the season, yes, we beat Liverpool at home. Yes, they won the league, but still you have to beat them. They're not, they've come to Emirates with their strongest team. We beat them 2-1.
Yeah.
We beat Man City in the semi-finals. Again, they needed to win a trophy of some sort because they ain't won nothing. No, sorry, they won the Carling Cup, didn't they? This season.
Carling Cup, yeah. City. I think that was theirs.
So I guess they still would have. Yeah, I still would have.
But they won.
I'm pretty sure they would have wanted to win that.
They're chasing silverware, yeah, of course.
Yeah, and then to play the way we did against Chelsea in the final. So we've definitely got it in our locker to put in these performances that away to Wolves that we did. Man United at home. That we've got these performances in our locker, but it's just a consistency. Just like you do stuff like that, then we lose. You've got Brighton doing the double over us. Like, what's that about? Losing to Villa away, drawing with Norwich away. Like, these silly games that you think, like, how can you go from such great performances and great wins to that don't make sense? That's got to just, we got to pattern it up a bit. You can't be going that high then dropping lows. And it's fair enough. It's now the same players on the pitch, the same personnel in these two type of games, but we just in different performances.
Cancelling each other out, innit? It just doesn't.
Yeah, and it's like you let yourselves down. It's like you know you can do it. Why? Come on.
You need someone that's going to take charge. Yeah. You need your version of Van Dijk or whatever. You need someone who's going to be your main guy that's going to take charge. And at a moment, that's David Luiz.
Yeah.
But that's what I'm saying. But then it's about what combinations work the best. Like, don't get me wrong. And I think, you see when a team is flying, yeah, anyone can look good, yeah? So I know, for example, like going back history slightly, Denilson, yeah? You see when Arsenal team was in its, like they were on their full throttle, Denilson comes in that team and he looks like a world beater. He is popping passes. And that was someone who was Brazil captain, under 16s, under 17s, under 80s, and 90s, yeah? Then when like shit hits the fan and he's got to be the main guy, you're like, bro, you're just not very good.
Just not very good. Yeah,
that's what I mean about some of them defenders, is that when the defense is looking good, they're looking sick.
Hey.
But when you really need to count on them, you're like, nah, bro, I don't know, bro. There's something about you.
Nelson, man, just gave man a flashback of that guy. Wow.
We're a top 4 team on paper, but our performances, you know, you could take a Birmingham out of that. We could have been relegation battling about his goals. Really.
The realities, yeah. It was deep.
It does taste like it was a time, like from October through to December. It was like every single week, like, are we going to win this week? It was like every single draw, loss. It just like it was painful.
Everyone fancied
so painful.
Yeah, anyone fancy playing.
Everyone's like
playing us. Yeah,
everyone's like, we've got Arsenal. Like, there's no fear playing Arsenal. It's like, we'll beat them. Like I didn't have no confidence in going to games. I feel like we're going to get turned over. You'd be happy to come away with something. Like I remember we beat West Ham away. I was happy with that win against West Ham. Like away to it, I was so happy that we won. And I think this is ridiculous. This is like normal 3 points.
Arteta's going to instill a certain style of football, yeah, within Arsenal. And I think it's going to get to a stage where you're either with us or against us, but you either do what is expected of you or you're shown the door. So I feel there has to be a bit of a ruthless streak. So I feel we're going to stop carrying certain players. Certain players that are not a part of this. So, and I talk about the Guendouzi's and all the rest of it. If you're not a part of it, you've got to be shown the door. Yeah. And I have, as a season ticket holder, I have my issues with Guendouzi, and I've always had my issues with Guendouzi, and I'm never going to jump on the bandwagon. Like, he has bags of potential, but for me, you're always out of position. And because you're always out of position, you then put stress and strain on all your other players, because like you look like you're doing a lot, but you're doing a lot without doing anything. You run around, you're not really, there's no real substance to your game. But like that side, I feel like a new style of football, kind of consistent style of football, is going to have to be instilled in them.
It's given us hope that, look, there's a performance in this team. There's a you know, this team can perform. We just need to add to that with personnel. Another thing I think, you know, will be important as well, I hope we can get that done, is getting Ceballos signed again. I think he was very integral to that little bit of run towards the end of the season, Ceballos. So I don't know what the situation with that is. Obviously, he goes back to Madrid, but it'd be nice to get him back on board again, which for another loan deal.
Would you want him as somebody who like would remain, like, you know, keep his place in the team?
Oh yeah, I think he's good enough. I think him alongside that, Xhaka's still a bit, you know, he's been doing well. Don't get me wrong, I can't knock him. He's been doing well, but I think that Ceballos is just that, you know, that Cazorla replacement type thing. You know, he gets the ball, he drives forward. He's always forward passing. You know, he could beat a man. He's got vision in him. So I think we ain't got a Ceballos in. You take Ceballos out, there's no one currently in our squad that can do that, I believe. We've got Xhaka's deep line, spray it far, but he can't do little jinky stuff.
No, you're right.
Guendouzi's out the squad pretty much. We ain't got that kind of player, so I think I think it'd be good to have a Ceballos.
I don't expect the season to... Liverpool are not going to run away with the league. They're not going to win the league next season. Yeah. I don't expect Arsenal to necessarily win the league yet. If they do, I will be over the moon. But that's not my expectation. My expectation is to be pushing for one of those Champions League places, potentially doing very well in one or more than one cup. Like even Europa League. To be honest, I was disappointed how we came out of Europa League. Like personally, I felt we should have went to UEFA and said, that my man came over, introduced COVID to the country, yeah? So we should have taken Olympiakos' space because they brought COVID, they gave Arteta COVID, and that was the reason why football stopped in this country, yeah? So I felt like that should have been like a rematch or something. You know the ones that like a rematch, like press reset, press start.
I think right now we just need to do just kind of like what Mourinho done with Man United when he first came there. He just done quick fix signings, like, you know, brought in Ibrahimovic, got him Pogba. He just brought in experienced people just to get him where he needed to be. Obviously, he didn't capitalise on it, but I think we just need to get these experienced heads like your Coutinho's, your Williams, Ceballos again, get us into that top four, and then we can start to really get, you know, our players in, like younger players, and build that our team for a future. Like,
to be fair, look, to go to the final 1 year, the semi-finals the year before, come on, there was no reason why we shouldn't be up there. We shouldn't have been in the final there or thereabout. Yeah. The Europa League for me is there to be won. We should be winning those kind of European trophies now. Yeah, so for me, I want to build on one of those European trophies. FA Cup is always nice. A League Cup, that Man City seem to have that wrapped up, so let's not worry about that. But I feel if we can get a cup or two and potentially a Champions League place, I would say that's a very good season.
We're ready for the champagne.